Hey everybody, I'm Tim Lampley and welcome to STL TV. Today we have the incredible Jayne Kennedy in the studio. You might know her as a model, actress, and television personality, but she's also an author with a new book that dives deep into her inspiring journey. Take a look at this. In the 1970s and 80s, Jayne Kennedy was the it girl, a black Barbie.
Like a Dior sable, the taste is in the label, so let's taste new tab.
Just as fine as she can.
Her magazine covers are legendary. She was a prominent crush for men all over the world who considered her a beauty icon. Ladies saw her as a symbol of black excellence, beauty, and achievement. But Jayne's high public profile presented challenges that included career setbacks and personal health struggles, too.
Endometriosis. It's not exactly a household word, but it is something that I've shared with 5 million American women.
All of which she details in her new memoir called Plain Jane. She shares, among other things, how her upbringing and family support anchored her decades-long career.
Let it go, please.
She got her big break at the age of 18 after being crowned Miss Ohio in 1970. Jayne was the first black woman to win the title. She went on to compete in the Miss USA pageant that same year. Over a 6-decade career, she's worked with some of the biggest names in the industry, landing roles in classic TV shows like Sanford & Son, Different Strokes, Wonder Woman, The Love Boat, 227, The $6 Million Man, and Starsky and Hutch. She's been in a bunch of movies, too, like Lady Sings the Blues in 1972 with Diana Ross, Billy Dee Williams, and Richard Pryor. Let's Do It Again in 1975 with Bill Cosby and Sidney Poitier. The Mysterious Island of Beautiful Women with Peter Lawford in 1979. And Body and Soul in 1981 with her then-husband, Leon Isaac Kennedy, among others.
Leon, I'm not strong enough for this. Please don't do this to me.
She was born in Washington, D.C., but raised in Wickliffe, Ohio, one of 6 children. In high school, Jayne was a cheerleader, member of the Honor Society, and president of her junior class. Her appeal was her stunning looks and her groundbreaking achievements.
When the Dallas Cowboys arrived in New York late yesterday, CBS had a cassette of Too Tall Jones's bout ready for them to view.
Jayne will forever be remembered for making history as the first black announcer on a nationally televised sports program when she joined NFL Today in 1978. She also won an Emmy and an NAACP Image Award, opening doors for black women in media, sports, and entertainment. In the 1990s, Jayne stepped away from the spotlight to focus on her family and recently celebrated her 41st wedding anniversary to former NFL player, sports agent, and actor Bill Overton. Today, Jayne is happy to be back in the spotlight, inspiring a new generation of young ladies and sharing her remarkable story with the world. What a career. Jayne Kennedy, thank you for being here with us.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Yes,
I really
and this
appreciate
is not my first time meeting you. I actually met you in Cleveland.
Yes.
At the National Association of Black Journalists where they were honoring you.
Back in July.
That's
Yes,
right.
I
that's
remember
right.
meeting you.
Let's start with the Urban League and the reason for your appearance here in St. Louis.
We can do that. Okay. Yes, I'm here because the Urban League is honoring Whitney Young, and they're also paying attention to the victims of the recent tornadoes that you had, and so we're going to be visiting that as well. They asked me if I would like to, run by and see what happened into some of the area that was affected, and I said, no, let's stop. Let's stop and chat with some people and see what we can do. So I'm just happy to be here. St. Louis has always been a wonderful place for me. I have a lot of friends that were born here. Lamont McLemore from the Fifth Dimension was born here.
That's right.
He's my best friend, and his photo, one of his photos is on the back jacket of my new memoir, Plain Jane.
Really?
Yeah. So St. Louis boy.
Yeah, we've got a lot of folks who have either come from here or sort of migrated here. Mm-hmm. Dennis Edwards from the Temptations.
Yeah.
The Isley Brothers.
Yeah.
So we've had a number of people. Let's talk about this book. So 25 years it took you to write this thing, Fancy Prancy.
Oh, now I know you read the book.
Why did it take you so long?
Well, I did want to, I initially started it as writing it for myself because I just had so much in my head that I had to get out and I had to put it on paper. And I was just writing and, just, okay, this goes over there, this goes over there, and there was no sequence. And then I said, now how do I put it all together? And then I realized that I had to bring other elements into the story if it's going to be a story about my life. And so it's written in 4 quarters. And the first quarter is Jayne Harrison, who I grew up. And a lot of people talk about, how the challenges and how hard it was for them to grow up and how they survived and overcame obstacles. But my story of my youth is just nothing but joy. My parents were amazing. We had wonderful family time. And my mom and my dad always told me that I could be anything that I wanted to be. And I believed in them. And I did just that. I mean, my resume was so long. By the time I graduated high school, it was crazy. And then the second quarter talks about Jayne Kennedy. Once I got married, moved to California, and started my Hollywood career, which is blessed with all kinds of things.
Well,
and
people
then,
don't know you started out as a singer, right? And a dancer.
A singer-dancer for the Bob Hope USO tour. Well, actually, my first job was on Rowan Martin's Laugh-In as a dancer, yes.
That was a show that was a pretty big hit back in, the 60s or the 70s?
It was the biggest hit.
It was the biggest
back
hit.
in the 70s,
Excuse
yes.
me, the biggest hit. The biggest hit. Got it.
I mean, they had Sammy Davis Jr. Oh my gosh, they had so many major stars on that show. And it was, I think it came on Friday nights, Thursday nights or Friday nights, and everybody was tuned in all around the country.
With this book, what was the most difficult chapter to write?
I'd have to say there are 2. When I talked about when my father's mother died, that was very difficult for me to write because I didn't know the story about how she had died. I knew she died when he was only 10 and he had to raise his other 6 and 7 siblings. There were 10 children in his family total. One of his older brother was off and the second brother was in the military overseas. And so my father at 10 years old had to quit school and raise the rest of his family. She had been murdered and shot 3 times in the back of her neck.
Oh my God.
And she died in his arms. And that was really hard for me to write about. When I was interviewing him and he told me that story, and I asked him, I said, Dad, here I am, I'm in my 60s, and you're just now telling me this story. Why didn't you ever tell me this before? And he said, because it hurt too much. He said, I can still smell the blood every single day.
Oh. And you said there were a few.
There were a few, yes. So the other one, the hardest chapter to write would have been about being lost when the tape was released. And I'd fought with myself a lot about whether to even put it in the book, but I knew that people wouldn't believe that I was being true and honest if I ignored that part of my life. And I wrote everything except that chapter. And when I got to the end of all of it, and I still had that, I had the hardest time just, how am I going to say this? How am I going to say this? And then I just took a deep breath and I dove in. And I needed people to know that it was not Leon's fault. It was his cousin who had been addicted to drugs and he had stolen it. He went to steal a watch and he found the tape instead and he sold it.
You know what I found interesting about that is that was a very intimate moment with a husband and wife that is not abnormal, right?
Right.
So it was interesting that you were judged to the point where you felt that you lost your career because of it.
I did lose my career. I did. I didn't feel it. Every day the phone stopped ringing. Every day jobs were canceled, contracts torn up. Every day.
How did you get it back?
It took 10 years. There was a lot of pain and suffering. I had called the FBI. They couldn't find the source. We didn't find out until my cousin, Leon's cousin, died, and he confessed on his deathbed maybe 6 years ago. But all this time, I never knew. But I had happened upon, it was really eating away at my soul. And I dove into my children, my life with my children, and they saved me. They gave me joy. My husband was amazing. He gave me life in our family bubble, but I wouldn't go outside that bubble. And every time I would turn around and, like the NACP or whenever people were inviting me to awards, things that I used to do, you know, all the contracts have been canceled, but there were still these people that would invite me to be a part of what they were doing. And I never went because I just couldn't, because I couldn't look at people because I didn't want to know what they were thinking.
And how did Leon react to this situation? You guys are still friends today, right?
Yes, we are. But there were long times that we were not, that hadn't had anything to do with the tape. Because we divorced we separated in 81. The divorce was final in 82. But the tape didn't come out until 10 years later. And that's why people say, oh, you know, they got divorced and then he just wanted to get back at Jayne. Not true. Not true at all.
You know, let's talk about some other little known fact.
Something happy, please.
Well, what's happy about it is that you survived it.
I did. I did.
What's happy about it is that you survived it.
It was with help.
Yeah.
Because I had gone by a church that I'd been by many years, and they had choir practice, and this bright light was shining out the window, and the choir was singing. And so I did an immediate U-turn, and I said, I got to go talk to this minister.
Oh, wow.
Because I was so torn inside, and I didn't know where to go or what to do. And I pulled in, and I just waited for all the people to leave, and I pulled the pastor to the side, and I said, I need help. I don't know what I'm doing, and I just spit everything out. We must have been there about an hour. And he said, we need to schedule some sessions. And he said, what is your main purpose? I said, I don't know who to forgive. If I could find somebody to forgive, then I could probably be okay. And by about the 5th or 6th session, he says, do you know who you need to forgive? And I said, no. He said, yourself.
Yeah. And when you did that, that's when things changed, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I went to our next session. The church was boarded up. He was gone. I could never find him again. Never saw him again.
Wow.
But it was tearing at me so much that finally one time Bill had known that I would never go anywhere. And the NACP asked us to be the presenters for the Best Play Award, Best Producer. And he came in and he asked me, and he said, do you want to go? Knowing that I was going to say no. And as he turned around and walked away, I said yes. And it was like a revelation for me. You know, it was like I'd crossed the barrier. But then when I got there,
back out in public, you were going to.
Yeah, but when I got there, I totally freaked out.
Oh.
I couldn't. I was backstage, and we're up like next. They had pulled us out of our chairs, put us backstage, and I was going, where are the freaking doors? There's got to be a door in this room. And so I hid in the curtains so that nobody would see me. I did not want to go on stage. Did not want. And then he's calling me, and he put his hand out, and I trusted him. And I said, okay, and I grabbed his hand and we went up on stage. And he said, I want to thank the NACP for getting my wife out of the house. And that made all the difference in the world. I mean, like, nothing changed overnight, as it never does, but it was enough to redirect me.
And that's why you all have been married 40 years.
40 years, yes.
There was a part in the book where you said, I believe you called it Hollywood 101, right?
Yes.
You were in Lady Sings the Blues with Dinah Ross, Richard Pryor, and Billy D. Williams in 1970, was it 4? Or two?
73.
73,
Yeah.
okay. Most of your scenes were cut out of the film,
Try all but one.
where they basically only show you walking down the steps and, you know.
Yeah.
If it's Hollywood 101, what did you learn from that?
Okay, so I was supposed to be Billy's girlfriend for the whole beginning of the movie, and she had this whole life that they were building, the two people, and then they meet. So Diana Ross, I'm talking about, and then they meet, right? So I'm his girlfriend. We've got all this drama and everything going on, and then they realized, Berry Gordy realized, we can't have anybody see Billy D until Diana sees him. So that meant I got cut out of the movie. And it was the best decision he ever made. As much as
For
it
the
hurt
movie,
me,
not for you.
as much as it hurt
Yeah, yeah.
me, it was the best decision because when he appeared, like I'm at the theater, right? And I'm going, where are all my scenes? Where am I? Because it's a screening, it's all done. And I'm going, I don't have any scenes. They've all been cut out. And then he walked in the scene and Diana just slid down the wall and everybody's going, Billy D was so fine. Oh my God. And I said, Barry made the right decision because everybody fell in love with Billy D.
That you didn't take that in a different way and that you understood that it was a business decision. So
Yeah.
that's very, very good.
And Barry's a friend of mine, so, you know.
And you like Diana Ross.
And I love Diana Ross, yeah.
When you got to Hollywood at such a young age, you were really a rising star alongside people like Richard Pryor, Jim Brown, Pam Grier, and other established figures like Sidney Poitier, Cicely Tyson, James Earl Jones, Diane Carroll.
Bill Cosby.
Was that intimidating?
No, not really. I was
Really?
just impressed, you know, and I was just soaking in the moment.
Because
you know,
I'm thinking you're coming from, you know, a town that really you wouldn't see celebrities like that. You certainly didn't see people that you had grown up watching on television. And here you are now, really alongside them, acting, performing in
Yeah.
commercials and all of this. And you didn't find that intimidating.
Not at all. That was like later into these 1974, and but in the beginning, 1971, 2, and 3, you know, that's when, for instance, my biggest joy was when the first month I was there, I went to Smokey Robinson was a best man at our
your
wedding. He
with
was
with
Leon.
Leon,
That's his best friend. So Smokey was there. So that's enough of a mind-blowing thing to begin with.
Absolutely.
And then I had been Miss Ohio. I had been captain of this and that. I was vice president of the United States Girls Nation. So I was accustomed to being up in front. So
president of your junior class, right?
yeah. All of that. And so it was sort of not new to me, but the biggest thing was, you know, I'm sitting there in the audience seats. Nobody's there. It's just a rehearsal, and Leon and Smokey are in the dressing rooms, and then Bob Hope walks on stage, and he comes over to me and he says, "How would you like to go with me on my Bases Around the World Christmas tour?" I'd only been in LA like 2 months, and I'm saying, I'm talking to Bob Hope. Bob Hope is talking to me.
Back then,
yeah. I mean, he's one of the biggest stars in Hollywood, right?
Bing Crosby and most people back
Right,
then.
right. And so I said, well, stupid me. I said, well, I already went to audition and they told me no. So he said, let me put it a different way.
Right?
I want you to go with me on the Bob Hope USO tour. And I said, yes, I can.
Right.
And that's when I learned the message, the lesson that whenever they ask you, you say, yes, I can, and then you go home and figure it out.
Absolutely. We got to talk a little bit about you becoming this sports pioneer.
Yes.
Broadcasting, really just legend, because you were one of the first.
Yes.
And then there was this sort of battle between two networks because you were doing something for what, NBC and CBS at the same time?
Yes.
So how did that all play out? Explain that to me.
Well, the way it came in the media was a lie. It's not true. But the truth is
What was the lie?
The truth was that the lie was that CBS said they fired me because I was working for a competitive network without their permission, and you can't do that. So my show was on in CBS, and this show was on NBC. So they fired me. But I said, well, wait a minute. No, I have written permission from the president of CBS Sports. I went to him and I asked him for permission to allow me to do that show. And he signed a letter saying that I could. So they hired me back. They saw the letter and they hired me back. And then like 2-3 weeks later, they had to come up with another reason to fire me. And so they said, well,
So they
you know,
had
you
an
can't.
agenda, really.
They did. Their agenda was that they wanted Phyllis George back. And to be quite honest, they had already given her a handshake deal in December.
And Phyllis George was also...
She was the predecessor for me. She was the first woman on the NFL Today. But they wanted her back because I have a lot of speculations.
But the accomplishment that you were the first woman of color
Yes.
on a broadcast
Yes.
network doing NFL Today.
And on the NFL Today, there have never been any other women since. It's just only been me and Phyllis.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. What do you have plans now that you're now promoting your book and you're out here? We love you and everybody's seeing you and we're applauding. I think it was your agent who said, "Yeah, I heard Jayne made a big hit at NEBJ." I say, "Yes, you did." so what's the plan now? What I mean, are we going to see you more?
Absolutely, yeah. This is my comeback. This is my company is called Not Done Yet, and so I'm resurrecting my career. If my knees can put up with it. Being 74 is not fun, but I think I'm enjoying what I'm doing, and I never felt that I've had finished. So this is my time to come back.
Awesome. And I was going to talk a little bit about the struggle with endometriosis.
Yes.
I do want to know what you want the public to know about your struggle with that, and then I want to get to what we see here real quick.
Yes. Great.
So what do you want the public to know about that painful condition?
Well, when I was diagnosed with endometriosis, I was at the Coca-Cola. I was working for Coca-Cola. I had a 6-year contract with them. And I was working for them at their global gathering convention. And they go all out for that. And so Julius Erving and I were standing on stage, and I got this horrible pain. And I couldn't stand it, and I'm just waiting, please, can I just get off stage? And when I got off stage, I collapsed. And they called the doctor, and he said, "Oh, it's just female problems. Tell her to take a hot bath, let some hot water run on her belly." And I said, well, no, that's not happening. So I called my OBGYN in LA. He said, "Get on the first plane and I'll meet you at the airport." And he took me to the hospital, and we did 3 days of testing. And then finally he said, "I think you have endometriosis." And not a lot of people knew about that back then, but it's
what's the status now with it?
Well, for 11 years I suffered with it. I would have no pain all while I was pregnant and breastfeeding, but then it would come back as soon as I stopped breastfeeding. So I have 3 children, and at the 4th child I said I want a total hysterectomy, and that's what I did. So no more endometriosis.
Three wonderful ladies.
I do.
Let's talk
4
about
wonderful
something
ladies. I have a stepdaughter too.
On a more positive note.
Yes, we've been dealing with some stuff here.
But I smell like Jayne Kennedy, so I feel
Yes,
really
you do.
good.
Yes, you do.
You sprayed me a little bit there.
Yes.
Tell me about the perfume and the I guess cologne. What would we call it? Because it's for both men and women.
Men and women.
Yes.
It's 100% organic.
Okay.
And it's called Jayne Kennedy Sun and Jayne
Which
Kennedy
one
Moon.
is which?
This one
So-
is Sun for the daytime.
Okay.
And you have opals from East Africa in it. We wanted to design something that was my story. And so I have a great story about me feeling my self-worth when I went to Africa. So we have African opals, we have 24 karat gold, and this is the nighttime fragrant along with the opals. We can't put the gold flakes in this one because it's a spray, but this is the roll-on. And
Awesome.
Again, and this is more earthy.
These will make. Well, yeah, I smell this great. Though.
This one is amazing.
We make wonderful Christmas gifts.
Yes, they will. They will. You can order now on JayneKennedy.com.
JayneKennedy.com. The book is entitled Plain Jayne, and she's anything but. We love her. Thank you. Any advice for young women who want to get into this field, or those who grew up watching you and loving you?
Yeah, buy my book and the fragrance on JayneKennedy.com.
Fantastic.
And then in the book, you will learn about how I was able to manifest myself in an industry that did not want someone like me.
Jayne, it has been quite the honor. Thank you again for joining us.
It's my pleasure.
For all of us here at STL TV, I'm Tim Lampley. We'll catch you again on the other side.